Carvel DeWitt would like to invite you in for the freshest handmade ice cream cakes in town. No matter what the occasion, Carvel DeWitt has the cake for you. Carvel DeWitt is starting a new tradition, a free side order of our world-famous chocolate crunchies with every freshly handmade ice cream cake. Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like.
2002, I'm sorry.
Yeah. My job at the time, I was a sergeant, probably working the Sea Watch 3-11 on the south side of the city.
Okay. You were on the street.
Yes, sir.
Did you know, in your capacity as the sergeant in that time, did you know that this phone call had come in, or would that have been on your radar at all as a sergeant on the street?
No, as a sergeant on the street, you're so far removed from an investigation like this that it's not even on your radar.
The detective who took that phone call, Detective Doug Fox, is he still with the department?
He is.
Have you spoken to him?
Of course.
Over the last, almost 2 weeks that this whole thing has blown up, and his name is in newspapers all over the country. He's being talked about on television, on cable news. How is he?
He's as any detective would be when you're a person and you're doing your job, and then you have to hear, your family have to hear your name being mentioned associated with an investigation like this. That has to be troubling to him. You have to understand that Detective Doug Fox, considering our policies and procedures at the time and the things that he didn't do anything wrong. He received a phone call initially from a third party and then from one of our victims in this case, and he responded to the phone call. He answered the questions, and he answered the questions appropriately. And he also ended the conversation with giving the victim a series of instructions that if you get the names of additional victims,
it could lead to something.
It could lead to something else, because what you have to understand is he's receiving a phone call about a very serious allegation, and the next step in the process at that particular time is perhaps to write a police report or somehow document this. And before you move to documenting such a serious incident like this and make it a matter of public record, there has to be something to corroborate this allegation. So a phone call from Utah, he needed a little bit more. Detective Fox notified his supervisor, and also the leader of the police department at the time also learned of this information. So the detective met his burden in this case.
Has he indicated to you, you said it would obviously be troubling to him. I don't want to get into a private conversation, but is this detective, is he okay in light of this firestorm?
He will be. The Syracuse Police Department is a sound professional organization, and being in law enforcement, people are going to take shots. Unfortunately, you're going to have to deal with some sort of criticism. Mm-hmm. Detective Fox, as well as myself, we're going to deal with some criticism because it unfortunately comes along with the job. But we're going to take care of him, and he's going to take care of himself, so he'll be okay.
Why would Chief Duval be told? Would Chief Duval have been told about this phone call and what happened next with it because of the person who was being accused, because it was somebody so well known in this town? Is that why he was told?
I'm not sure why Chief Duval was told, but that's a question that could be best asked by Chief Duval. I wasn't the chief at the time, he was, so I guess you could best ask him that question.
When calls come in now about alleged abuse, are you told about all of them?
Here's what happens now. If a call comes in about abuse, it's logged into a computer system. And if it's an allegation, if it's just merely an allegation and it's not something that we would formally document in a police report, it would be logged into a computer database. So now it enters in as an allegation. However, the second or the third time that this allegation comes in, now you have a little bit more. You've gone from a mere allegation to a pattern of behavior, and that will be dealt with quite differently.
When did that change? When did that policy change? Your release says, you're going to...
This is a new policy.
New policy? This is a new policy today?
That's correct.
New policy today. Okay. And this is something that you believe will do what?
Well, I'm not sure what it's going to do, but here's why this is why I implemented the policy. In 2002, it appears as though we could have done more with this case. Let's just face it, right? And now in 2011, I want to make sure that whatever it is that we're required to do by the victims, or people making the allegations, I want to make sure that the proper thing is done. So that, as the chief of police, that's what you do. You constantly look at and reevaluate and change your policies in order to provide the proper service to the community. And that's what I've done here.
We could have done more with this case. What do you mean? What do you mean you could have done more?
Well, there's no documentation about the 2002 incident, and perhaps we could have done differently. And I wasn't the chief at the time, so but I am the chief now, and I would have. It would have been easier for us now if we had done a little more.
Have you talked to Denis Duval?
I have spoken with Chief Duval, yes.
Anything you want to share about that conversation?
No.
Was it for background on this? Was it to get
the
details of?
Yeah.
Because there was no record, you as the chief had to go to Detective Fox and Denis Duval and say, what was the deal?
Sure. I had to go back and talk to any and everybody that was identified to me or I thought may have been somehow involved or informed about this incident, and I had to speak to them, and that also included Chief Duval.
Should ESPN and the PostStandard have clued in the Syracuse Police Department in the early 2000s that they had this toxic phone call from between Lori Fine and the alleged victim?
Well, I talked to you before about corroborating evidence. That is certainly some information that we would have definitely have been interested in, and I think that had we gotten that information, I'm certain that things would have been handled a little differently back in 2002. But once again, I'm just speculating. I wasn't the chief. I told you I was a sergeant on working the beat at the time.
Right. No, I'm just asking in the capacity of years of law enforcement experience, when it comes to light that two agencies had a piece of information and the police did not. The police who investigate crimes and arrest people for them.
Sure.
These two agencies had the phone call,
yes,
and didn't bring it to police. Are they somehow responsible for the fact that you're putting it out there that the police could have done more, and that's admirable.
Sure.
But should these agencies have done more themselves to help you do more, to help the police do more?
That's not for me to decide. Would I have liked for them to have done more? Absolutely. But should they have done more? I don't know. I don't know, but what type of policies that the news agencies have, and I don't know how or why whether they feel obligated to pass this information along to us. Those are things that I do not know. So it's real tough for me to sit and criticize them. I don't have the time nor the energy to criticize people in this, so I really don't know.
This department's taking a beating in the national media. How are the folks who work here dealing with that?
We are. This is a very professional organization, despite what anyone says, and I'm honored to be the chief of the Syracuse Police Department. I'm a professional. I run a professional police department here, and we will get through this. Our main focus has been on the victims in this case. This is a very unfortunate incident, and we're talking about a very horrific crime here. If it indeed turns out the way that the claims are coming in, right? And we've remained focused on this investigation, and we will continue to remain focused on this investigation.
The fight that the DA brought to this department with allegations, public allegations of a cover-up, with allegations that this is a fiefdom, not a police department. What's the answer to that? He's held the narrative on this. He's been out there with this for days, and that's sort of been lingering in people's minds about what sort of department this is. I know we have you saying it's professional. What's going on with the DA?
Here's what I'd like for people to pay attention to in regards to that. Pay attention to me and pay attention to my police department. I've not said one word. This is the first time that you've heard from me regarding this, and you know why? Because I've been busy running an investigation. I've been busy advancing a criminal allegation forward, and we will continue to focus on the investigation. This is not about me, Chief of Police Frank Fowler. It's not about your district attorney. It's about the victims that are involved in this case, and that's where our focus is, and that's where our focus will remain. I can't control what someone else says. I can't, and nor will I try to control what someone else says. My obligation is to go out and enforce the laws of the city of Syracuse, and that is exactly what I'm doing. That is exactly what I will continue to do. And people refer to it as a fight. It takes two people to fight. We haven't thrown not one blow in this, and nor do we intend to throw any blows in this. All of our energy, every bit of it, will be focused on the victims in this investigation and bringing it forward in a very professional manner.
Have you talked to Deputy Chief Broughton about what
it's Broughton.
I'm sorry, about the DA's going on television saying that his people were sworn at by the deputy chief? I mean, I think what people are thinking, and what I was thinking, was what's the level of professionalism if that is in fact true?
Well, the professionalism is not without passion, and our passion is not directed toward the DA's office. Our passion is for the victims out there, and what you have to understand is that there's no robots that work here. These are human beings, not void of human emotions, and so that's what you get when you get a highly charged investigation like this, and you get dedicated professionals that believe in what they do and that are passionate about what they do. That's what you get.
What didn't I ask you that you want to make clear, Chief?
I've made it clear that throughout this process, the Syracuse Police Department and its leadership has remained professional throughout, and we will continue to do so. And our focus has been on this investigation and the victims that are involved in this investigation.